Here we go. What is this? Is this a radio show? Hold on, hang on. Is this thing on? My goodness. This is an actual radio show. Those applause are for me. And when you have a radio show and you miss day after day and you come back, you can give yourself a round of applause, whether you deserve it or not. And that's the case with me. I don't deserve it, but I did it. Back with you in the Bureau, the Mississippi Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Farm Bureau Insurance, go! With the home team, they are your home team at Farm Bureau all across the great state of Mississippi. Your hometown heroes at your local Farm Bureau insurance agents. Yeah, I'm here. Beaver is here. I know that for a fact because otherwise none of this would be happening. You know, I hear the buzz coming down the line. I know we're on the air, and I know that's because of Beaver. Otherwise, you know, none of this happens without Beaver. And thank you for being here. I don't know what this stands for, but Hunter says OGR is back. Okay, Hunter, I need help. What does OGR stand for? So I'll know what's back. Okay. Also, you can text, call, be a part of the show. Like you can be like Hunter if you're on the live stream, YouTube, Facebook, any of that. You can. Okay. OGR, Old Guy Radio. Yeah, that's what we thought a couple days ago when we were on the air. I think I just looked up and went, you know, okay, I'm doing Old Guy Radio. But, yeah, OGR. Maybe I ought to change the name of the show and just go ahead and brand this thing. Old Guy Radio. See what happens. You never know, Hunter. You never know. Hunter's on YouTube. If you're on Facebook or Twitter, feel free to drop a comment. If you just comment on the live stream, it pops up here, and I can pull it up on the screen, make it a part of the show. It's one way to get in on the conversation. You can also text me on the Country Pleasin' text line, Country Pleasin' sausage on grocery store shelves all around the Southeast. In fact, yesterday was a travel day for me, working out and about all over the place, getting to meet some cool people and do some cool stuff. Well, I spent the night with my in-laws in Vicksburg, woke up at their house yesterday morning, and right out of the chutes, heated up, cooked on the stove, ready to eat. Jalapeno and cheddar from Country Pleasin', my father-in-law, Big Winky, he cooked some for breakfast. I had it waiting on us. So it's not just my house. It's every house I go to is eating Country Pleasin' sausage. And you can text here in the studio today, 885-3776. That's the number to text the show, 885-3776, 601 number, 885-ESPN. You can also call me on the Davini phone, Davini Equipment in Madison and in Jackson. Your Kubota dealer, the oldest Kubota dealer in the U.S. Number to call, 897-1059, 601-897-1059. Beaver texted me earlier today and made an incredible discovery and connected the dots of where all the jokes on The Office came from, even beginning in season 1. A lot of it originated on King of the Hill, and we'll prove that shortly. Regardless, get on in here on a Thursday. What happened last night? What happened to State last night? Dadgummit. Came up short. Close games against really good top 10 teams at home. High-scoring, close games where they lose to Kentucky at home by 5, and then last night you lose to Alabama at home by 4. What the heck? What do we got to do? We'll figure all that out first. We're checking in with Beeve. Beeve's had a busy day so far, but now he gets to relax for 2 hours and just listen to me. Isn't that right, Beeve? Isn't that how it goes?
That's how it goes, pretty much. I didn't think I was going to be able to get with you. There was chaos going on. I spent the first 3 minutes of the show trying to untangle my headphone cord.
Wait a minute.
That could have been disaster.
It really could have been. Because if you're not careful, that the tautness in that cord will decide it's going to pull back every now and then, Beav, and it'll pop you right in the face. You know what I'm saying?
Well, now the cord is okay.
Okay.
But those phones, they'll get you.
Those headphones will get you. Well, welcome in, Beav. Listen, your text earlier today, that is one heck of a discovery. For those who know what I'm talking about, Beaver discovered a clip from an episode of King of the Hill where on King of the Hill they made the "that's what she said" joke about something that was made famous by Michael Scott in The Office. But Beav, how many years before The Office would that have happened? Are we talking like 2 years, 5 years, what?
So The Office premiered in March of 2005.
Okay.
And this episode of King of the Hill I was watching was February 2004.
So a year before, they're making The Office jokes on King of the Hill, but The Office didn't start till a year later.
Yeah, The Office started a year later. Now, the connection here, the dots that I connected was the co-creator and writer on King of the Hill, Greg Daniels.
Yeah.
Also co-creator and writer of The Office.
There's your common thread. Man, I thought The Office was original. I thought that joke was original for The Office. I really did, B. Starting to think all this has just been a big lie. All of entertainment is a big lie. You just keep discovering those little nuggets, B. Here's what we do. You have 12 of those right there. 12 of those, B. Mind-blowing nuggets. Okay? And we do 12 episodes of a new podcast where I set you up with questions and you put it on the tee and you lay all that out. And we title the podcast and we pop it out there. Hollywood, one big lie. What do you think? I mean, it's got to be over the top to pull people in.
Yeah. I don't see, now, Matt Wyatt, I don't know that itself is an idea that already hasn't been had out there by
true.
several podcasters. So what we're doing with that is we're just playing into our, thought that it's not real. What's going on?
Let's go. Yeah, I'm sure that's the case because there's 85 billion podcasts that exist out there. I'm sure there's one about Hollywood being, untruthful. I'm sure that's right. Well, all right. So there's that. But without further ado, I'm coming to your texts here on the Country Pleasing text line. And look, I know if you're a Mississippi State fan like me, after that game last night, you might prefer to just put it behind you and not talk about it anymore. Not sure that's right, wrong, indifferent, but it's kind of hard to do that because it's still fresh. Man, what an opportunity that was for State. It just slips through their fingers. That's two of those. Now, Kentucky and Alabama at home that get away from it in high-scoring but close games. But there's a thread there. We got to talk about that. First, though, the text line. We go over to White Denzel on the Country Pleasing text line who says, Beav's going to have to play therapist to Saintsboro, seeing how the Saints are going to hire Kellen Moore. Wait a minute. Is that official? Now, I mean, last I saw was, it wasn't working out with McCarthy and other people didn't want to take the job. And are you just speculating, Denzel? Or is anybody reporting that they are going to hire Kellen Moore? I don't know what his age is. Probably going to be hard-pressed to be the youngest head coach in the NFL, when somebody hires him. But I do know this about Kellen Moore. He'll be the youngest-looking head coach in NFL history, probably for that matter. PT for MSU texts the show. He says, I was in Vicksburg for work yesterday, as always. Had to duck into Solly's for a quick lunch. Did you have the tamales? Did you have Solly's tamales? Let's see. St. Louis Vic, he texts, and he says, can you guys get with any of the events that take place over the Pro Bowl week, tug of war, etc.? Oh, okay, no. Look, Vic, what is that? What is the Pro Bowl and what are those events? They're kind of filler, time killer. I don't say this begrudgingly in the least. I'm proud to say this. It's a compliment to me. It's evidence of how the Lord has blessed me, and I'm the least deserving, but he has blessed me. The fact that I have a life full of other things and work that I really enjoy and stuff that I do and family to follow around and spend time with and all that. Okay, so because of that, I don't even catch every second of every actual live, meaningful ball game that I care about. There are lots of games that I care about that I still don't catch every second of it like I might like to, because there's always other things going on. So the thing that I certainly don't have time for is sporting events I don't care about. Okay. And the Pro Bowl is like way up the top, near the top of the list of things, supposed sporting events I don't care about, and Pro Bowl activities. Now, if they brought back remember the old quarterback competition? They'd have the strongest arm and have the distance throw and then the accuracy stuff. All that was pretty cool with the NFL quarterbacks. And maybe it was cooler when I was young because I looked up to those guys so much. You could turn it on, and somewhere around Pro Bowl festivities, they'd have Dan Marino out there competing against Brett Favre and seeing who could throw it the farthest and stuff like that. And they wore their team jerseys. Like there for a while, you'd turn on Pro Bowl stuff, and there's Vinny Testaverde winning the distance throw. He throws it 88 yards in the air, but he had on his Tampa Bay Buccaneers jersey. It's like you could also identify him with their team. The game itself, the Pro Bowl game itself, was always a monumental waste of time, waste of everyone's time. And I don't even know if they do it anymore. I guess they don't. But, yeah, the stuff they do now, why would I watch that? I'll never watch it. I'm not, even when I have tried to watch it, I'm not entertained by it. It's like, you turn on like a show or something that's supposed to be funny and everybody tells you it's funny. Okay, but then as you watch it, Vic, you realize you watched the whole thing and you never laughed one time. You never genuinely laughed one time, right? It's kind of the way it is when you watch Pro Bowl stuff. It's supposed to be really cool. And you turn on, it's like none of it's entertaining. But I digress. Welcome to Old Guy Radio. Now, regarding Mississippi State basketball, last night, Res Dog, and look, y'all, okay, before I read this, Res Dog's a true fan. Okay, he's a fan. Now, he's not the most optimistic, but he's a true fan. This is how he's feeling today, though. He said, MSU is the Buffalo Bills of big game choke. Last night, it was a big game. We'll get into this, though, too. But there's also an element for me of, but it is regular season. Sure, you'd love to win all your games in the regular season and be the number one seed. Sure, you would. For tangible reasons, you would. But you don't have to be a 1 seed to make the Sweet 16, to make a run, to maybe make the Final Four. You have to just play your best in the tournament. Matchups, those kind of things have to fall your way. But I don't know. Part of me is like this. When you have a team that is legit good, State is legit good, and no, they didn't show up very well against teams like Auburn and Tennessee. And, they have home losses to Kentucky and Alabama that are by a combined 9 points, those two games. But still, they're a good team, and they're the kind of team that can, and every year there will be one or maybe two teams that are just like Mississippi State, that they don't always put it together in the regular season, but then they play their best in the postseason and they make, a postseason run. And if you're a State fan, that's really what you're hoping for anyway. For me, it is. And again, speaking of Old Guy Radio, maybe that's an age thing, but I'm looking ahead going, what really matters is the tournament. Just play your best there. Like, really and truly, if this is total, junior high hypothetical. But if someone said to you, you can have one or the other. You can either have a win at home over a top 5 Alabama team on a Wednesday night in January, or you can have a win in the round of 32 in the NCAA tournament against somebody, but you can't have both. Which one are you going to take? You're taking the NCAA tournament. See, so for me, that's what matters anyway. They're going to be in. You just hate that they missed an opportunity to win the game. They got to play better defense. All right, over to the phone line. The Deviney Equipment phone line. Deviney Equipment in Madison and in Jackson. Your Kubota dealer. The oldest Kubota dealer in the U.S., in fact. Means they've been doing it better, longer than anybody else, right here at home at Deviney. Jimmy on line 1. What's up, Jimmy?
Hey, Matt, how you doing?
Just right.
Hey, look, I watched the game last night. I thought Mississippi State did a wonderful job. They played great. I thought, you even had a player that had a season high or career high points scored, and it was there for the taking.
Yeah.
The problem that I see with Alabama football and comparison with the basketball, Mississippi State basketball, is you have to be able to adapt and change to the game as it goes on and the scenario that exists and you're given. So if you don't, Nick Saban is great at making adaptations and changing to the situation. Coach DeBar or whatever, certain coaches are not there yet. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to encourage Mississippi State to keep it up because you have to train and practice for these type of situations. I'll give you an example, Matt, real quick. We were up at Humphreys Coliseum years ago, and we were fighting a full-contact karate match. So we were fighting, my friend was fighting this guy that had no mouthpiece in, Carruthers from somewhere up in the Delta. And he hit Carruthers, the black guy, in the mouth and knocked his tooth out during the match and won the match. And it was a good showing, and it was bad luck on the guy that wasn't wearing the mouthpiece. But my friend had the opponent's tooth go through his glove and shatter his knuckle for $10,000 hospital bill. But he won the fight. So you have to be able to adapt and change, and you have to make the correct decisions. And that's what I want to see Mississippi State do, is train more and practice more in those type of situations and they change. Now, Matt, I just want to ask you this quick question. I'll leave you with this. In basketball, I don't know a lot about basketball as far as the player personnel and everything. Is it like football? You have really smart people, and then you have some people that aren't so smart. Do you think intelligence and knowledge plays a lot in the ability to adapt and change during games and win games like this? Do you believe intelligence has a lot to do with it besides physical ability?
Yeah. I mean, at a basic level, sure.
Sure. So you have to teach the guys what to do and how to do it, and the only way you can do that is train. And another thing, Matt, I'm big on no sugar, not eating the right foods and staying healthy.
Okay.
Man, don't feed those kids the wrong kind of food and let them get into sugar a lot and different things, and try to keep the head straight, keep it on straight, and then you'll see a big difference in their abilities and the way they play.
Okay.
And I believe that. I believe that the body and the mind and the soul is a spiritual type of dwelling, and it needs to be taken care of well.
Yeah, Jimmy, I appreciate the call, man. Thank you.
Sure.
For all that. Have a good one. Hey, B, speaking of Jimmy mentioned eating healthy. Did you get those OCPs I left on your desk yesterday?
I did, man. I walked in, and they're sitting here, like, right in front of the board. And it's just so funny to walk in and just see a random box of OCPs sitting here. I admire you for paying your debt, man, because I had completely forgotten about that.
Yeah, well, I had two. You know who remembered it? Annabeth.
Of course she did.
Remembered it, walked in and says, here, you got to take these to Beaver.
Oh, man. Oh, let me.
Yeah. So she took care of it. Well, I mean, just another example of I'd be lost without her.
Yeah. I'd like to give the second King of the Hill reference of the day.
Okay.
There was an episode, Bill said something to Hank. He was talking about Peggy. Peggy had done something Bill really admired, and he looks at Hank and goes, you got yourself a good man there, Hank. And then, what'd you say? And then he looked at him, and he was already across the walkway, climbing over the fence. He realized what he had just said. But talking about Annabeth there and remembering everything, you got yourself a good man there, Matt Wyatt.
Yeah, and it is funny to think about not only on Bill saying that on King of the Hill, but the way that the character of Hank would have reacted to it.
What'd you say, Bill?
I'll tell you what. That's great. Yeah. Oatmeal cream pies. That's what that stands for. Somebody listening, they're like, what is an OCP? Oatmeal cream pies. Some of that good sugar. Just getting started in the Farm Bureau studio. Stick around.
Oh, you like this? It's the new iPhone 16
I'm Eddie
Pro with
Hoffman
Apple.
with Washington County Farm Bureau Insurance.
I'm Scott Rainwater with Farm Bureau Insurance here in Washington County.
I'm Blake Policini with Washington County Farm Bureau.
I'm Brian Street with Farm Bureau Insurance in Washington County, and we are your home team.
I think you know what time it is. It's time to eat. Country pleasing, jalapeno and cheddar, green onion. And no, it's not a grill, see that? But the fire is just about burnt down enough where it's time to put some of this on there. And the only decision when it comes to country pleasing sausage is which flavor, jalapeno and cheddar or maybe green onion. Both.
Break me off a piece of that.
Look at that. What that is. That's real green onion. Like that monkey who set his tail on a railroad track. It won't be long now. Country Pleasing sausage, these flavors, and many, many others. Get them online at countrypleasing.com. At a grocery store near you, pretty much anywhere in the Southeast. Walk up in there and say, Country Pleasing, please. They'll know what you're talking about.
Grew up on a family farm out past Leland, just born and raised here in the Mississippi Delta. Never really thought about moving out. You know, it's where my roots are. Our family's a big sports family. It was 4 boys and 1 girl, and all 4 of us boys went and played ball at Delta Community College. My dad, he's always been honestly a role model of mine. He's farmed his whole life. We attend St. James Catholic Church in Leland, where we went to church my whole life, and then now continuing my family, me and my wife and my 3 kids. Being a Christian is everything for me and my family. Being born and raised here in this area, there's just something about this area. I mean, when you pull into it, you don't see a whole lot, but being born and raised here in the farm families and just the people that grew up here, the people that you see here, you see in the grocery store, you go to church with, small town community, you're gonna run into people that you know. It puts a smile on your face knowing that you know the people in your area, in your community. Get to know them as friends and now bring them in to my office here and creating that relationship, extending it on, getting them as insureds, as customers of mine, who I call friends. I'm Blake Policini with Washington County Farm Bureau, and we are the home team.
Y'all have heard me talk about Murray West and murraywest.com. They made the hat that I'm wearing. Got the Natchez Trace logo on it. I've told you a little bit about what they are. Contract embroidery company here in Mississippi. Started back in 1996, family owned.
They do a phenomenal job, and I got to go visit their place up in New Albany. Let me show you a little bit about it. When I say they do quality stuff, they really do. And so custom apparel, team stuff, I mean, really and truly, just about every high school in the state is sending their embroidered, team gear, jackets, shirts, hats, stuff. Baseball teams, football teams, they're sending it to the folks at Murray West in New Albany. You go to their website, murraywest.com, you go to the bottom, you can kind of see some of the prairie wildlife, Ole Miss.
Zone 105.9 and worldwide at the Zone105.9.com.
All right, back with you. Yeah, there was much conversation. I say much, a little bit. Obviously, the missed opportunity into the game, Keyshawn Murphy, and then they don't get a pass to Hubbard, how the last few seconds of the game played out for State. But you didn't lose it there. You had an opportunity there, but you didn't lose the game in those last few seconds. You lose it by somebody comes into your place and scores 88 points. I'm going to get into that. You're not going to beat very many people giving up 90 points in Southeastern Conference play. You don't win games that way. Res Dog texts the show. He says, our perimeter defense will have to drastically improve to make any kind of run in the tournament. NWR Mike says, I'm afraid that's the problem. Nothing makes me believe we can win a big game in a tournament because we can't do it in the regular season. Yeah, sure. And, I get it. But it happens all the time. People, that they may have stretches where they flounder regular season and they put it all together and have the right matchups and make a run in the postseason when it's really fun. But, okay, back to the point about defense. You look at these losses. Particularly these two home losses to top 5, top 10, top 5 type teams. A home loss to Kentucky, a home loss to Alabama now. You allow 95 in one of them and 88 in the other. Somebody comes into your place, and it was not too long ago, like when Chris Jans first got there, they didn't have offensive talent. They didn't have scores. They were never going to outscore people. They self-scouted, and everybody bought into that reality and decided we must win with defense, and they were winning with defense. This long stretches of holding opponents under 60 points and under 70 points, right? And so that's changed a little bit. Yeah, you score more, but you're giving up more. So here's State trying to home and away. You're butting heads with these other teams that at least up to this point you've been in a conversation with in the SEC. State has been right there in the conversation with the Tennessees and the Alabamas and the Kentuckys, Ole Misses of the SEC. They've been right there in the conversation, right? You're sitting there with 5 losses now. I guess Ole Miss has also got 5. Kentucky's got more than that. Now, we're not talking about, SEC losses, but listen to this. Let me frame it for you this way. Let's just look at all these good teams in the SEC and how do they lose? How are they losing? What kind of points are they putting up in their losses? Another way to phrase that would be, what are opponents doing when they do manage to get a win against Auburn and Alabama and Tennessee and Kentucky? What do opponents do? You look at Alabama. In their 3 losses, Alabama has scored 78, 81, 64 in their 3 losses. See, Ole Miss beats them in Tuscaloosa. How? You hold them to 64. It wasn't because you went and shot the lights out yourself. It's because you smothered them with great defense. Alabama has 3 losses. They go 78, 81, and 64 in those. That's what they scored in their losses. Teams are beating them when they have a great night on defense, not a great night on offense necessarily. What about Tennessee? In Tennessee's losses, opponents held them to 43, 51, 73, and 75. In all 4 losses, didn't reach 80 points. And in 2 of them, didn't reach 60. You want to beat Tennessee? You better have a great night on defense. Auburn, 1 loss. What'd they score? 78 points in their loss. You want to beat these good teams? You better keep them under 80 points. There's where you win the game. You win it on the defensive end, rebounding. Look at Kentucky. Kentucky's losses. In Kentucky's losses this year, they have scored 66, 65, 69, 69, and 73. They have 1 outlier where they allowed over 100 points and lost to Alabama 100 and something to 97. Okay, but 5 of the 6 losses, they scored 73 or less. Teams that beat Kentucky, smother them with defense somehow. Don't allow a guy off the bench to have a career night shooting 3-point shots, which he did against State. Look at Ole Miss. Ole Miss sitting there with 5 losses. Here are Ole Miss's point totals in their losses. 78, 70, 81, 62, 75. You want to beat Ole Miss? Hold them under 80 points. You beat them. Now look at State. Here's State's point totals in their losses. (56, 66, 77, 84, and 90. All right, what does that mean? Listen to this. Of all those teams, and they do range in number of, but look at all the top teams in the SEC. Auburn has 1 loss. Kentucky has 6. Ole Miss and State each have 5. Tennessee has 4. And Bama has 3 losses. Alabama, Tennessee, Auburn, Kentucky, Ole Miss, and State. State is the only one who has multiple losses when scoring 80 points or more. They're the only one. Now, this is like not some great big revealing analysis. I'm just calling out the numbers. State's the only one of the whole bunch who has multiple losses scoring 80 or more. And one of their other 5 losses, they scored 77. They're just right there knocking on the door of 80 points. All the rest of them, Ole Miss has got 1 loss when they scored over 80, and that was they scored 81. Kentucky has 1 loss. They scored over 80 points. Auburn doesn't have a loss. They scored over 80. Tennessee doesn't have a loss. They scored over 80. And Alabama has 1 loss where they scored over 80 points. It was 81. Barely over. State's they put up 90 against Kentucky at home and lose. You put up 84 and nearly 40 points from Josh Hubbard at home and lose. 77 in another loss. They're not defending people. Okay, well, Matt, that's easy for you to say, not defending, but give me some details. How do they defend better? Heck if I know. Being honest with you. But I do know this. Kentucky comes in there and shoots the lights out from 3-point range, including one guy who even Kentucky fans don't even know who he is, before or after. And last night for Alabama, they come in there and essentially shoot 50% from 3-point range on 31 3-point shots. They go 15 of 31, nearly 50% at the 3-point line, including a guy, Youngblood, who goes 7 out of 10. Just red hot, on fire from 3-point range. So, okay. I'm not the basketball breakdown the film guy, but what I am saying is State does not have an offensive problem. They don't have a hustle problem, an energy problem, a toughness problem. They don't have a really a rebounding problem. They don't have a turnover problem. They don't have a atmosphere or fan base support problem. Right now, where they are right now, they have a defense problem. That's what they have. And you know what's crazy? It shows you how much I know. Is like going into the year, going into the SEC part of the year, I was saying, you know, I think maybe the one thing that might be a thorn in State's side is when they play a team that's got a true big. You know, the true big guy, big five in there. That ain't it at all. The thing that's the thorn in State's side is 3-point shooting. They cannot find ways to keep other teams from filling it up from three. I don't know what you do. You know, you could probably dig deep, peel back the onion, and go, well, part of that is that, you know, you're trying to protect yourself on the inside. But still, you know, again, I'm not the film guy. I don't know what you chalk it up to, but that's really what it is. So to this point, it's a team where State can beat just about anybody. I don't know about Auburn, but the Alabamas and the Kentuckys, State can beat just about any of them. They just need them to have an off night shooting the basketball. If you have that, you can beat them. But if they have an on night shooting the basketball, they'll come into Humphrey Coliseum and put up 85, 95. You're not going to beat those teams when those are your opponent's points totals. Not happening. So, you know, it's a little bit of a pick your poison in the program so far. And Coach Jans has done a phenomenal job. He's got the gym full, and for good reason. But early on, it was defense and very little offense. And now it's offense and, frankly, very little defense. All right, rolling along. I'm Matt. In the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio, Farm Bureau, go! With the home team. Stick around.
I was born and raised in Greenville. I've always called Greenville home. This is where I, was raised, went to high school, graduated high school, worked all my life here leading up to going to college. So even when I moved from Greenville, I always told people, they asked me where you're from, I always said I'm from Greenville. I have mother, father, brother, niece, aunt, all live here in Greenville. So this is home. This is where I, live, and I've just always called it home. Small town, I feel like I could walk in any place tomorrow and know 2 to 3 people in there. It's small town. Someone's on the side of the road broken down. Hey, you need a boost, flat tire, you need help changing it. That's just kind of, what I love about this area. The blues and the food and everything that comes along with the Mississippi Delta that I love. I tell people all the time, my business cards have my cell phone number on them for a reason. Insurance doesn't happen from 8 to 5. When you need me, it's going to be after 5. It hardly ever happens where you have a wreck, get pulled over, need an insurance card, wind blows, shingles off your roof. All these things happen, and it's typically after 5. And so The ability for someone to call me, get in contact with me, text me, ask me a question, and that's what it's about to me, is helping the people that we serve, is taking care of people and them knowing that they can count on me whenever they need me. I am Brian Street with Farm Bureau Insurance in Washington County, and we are your home team.
Y'all have heard me talk about Murray West and MurrayWest.com. They made the hat that I'm wearing. Got the Natchez Trace logo on it. I've told you a little bit about what they are. Contract embroidery company here in Mississippi. Started back in 1996, family owned. They do a phenomenal job, and I got to go visit their place up in New Albany. Let me show you a little bit about it. I say they do quality stuff. They really do. And so custom apparel, team stuff, I mean, really and truly, just about every high school in the state is sending their embroidered, team gear, jackets, shirts, hats, stuff. Baseball teams, football teams, they're sending it to the folks at Murray West in New Albany. You go to their website, MurrayWest.com, you go to the bottom, you can kind of see some of the Prairie Wildlife, Ole Miss Athletics, Gentile, others that they work with. Can't recommend them enough. If you need your logo printed, embroidered, sewn on to anything, custom apparel and other stuff, make sure you go there. Murray West, you can find them online, Murray West.
All right. Back with you, I'm Matt, in the Bureau, the Mississippi Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Chuck on YouTube said Chris Jan's going to lose his license to practice dentistry at this rate. Yeah, giving up the defensive identity. Sammy on Facebook says, whatever happened to the day when a team full court pressed like the entire game? Yeah, I used to do it. Those Nolan Richardson, Arkansas teams and stuff. You don't see it as much anymore. I don't know what you chalk it up to. I'm sure it's something. Now, Steve's got an easy solution. It really is an easy solution. On Facebook, Steve says, well, you just need better players. More of them, right? Now, Sammy said Chris Jans is an outstanding coach and has made state competitive with any team in the conference. I mean, he really is an outstanding coach. And it's not been a quick, just snap your fingers and go get them type of thing, but he really has built it. And, and there's a reason to believe. You've been right there. 2 home games, Kentucky and Alabama. You've been right there. You just come up a little bit short. I still think, I'm not. It's weird. I get it when I see a fellow state fan going, we just can't get over the hump. It's been that way forever. We just come up just a little bit short. And it'll always be that way, Woe is us. I get it. You see things that way. But I'm just, with this particular team, and it being the sport of basketball and the way the postseason works, I'm not disheartened by it at all. Yeah, you hate it. I mean, missed opportunity. A little pressure. Every time you lose one, no matter who it is, even if it's a top 5 team, you lose one, a little pressure goes up a little bit on the next few. There's a lot of pressure on them with Missouri coming in there this weekend. But, the league's good. It is, and the reality is, they hit the postseason, anything can happen. Play your best then. The goal is to not play your best now, right? To play your best in March. So I'm not discouraged by it at all. I'm really not. How y'all feel about it? White Denzel text the show, Country Pleasing text line. couple of them back to back. Now, he said Jans is the right coach for State. He says, but he might be one of the worst last 2 minutes of the game coaches in the SEC. Yeah, but how much coaching can you do in the last 2 minutes? Well, you draw up one play, call one timeout? All right, I did see this. Speaking of baseball, White Denzel says, well, and he sent me the graphic here, the Ron Polk Ring of Honor 2025 class. They've announced it. Mike Profit, Ted Milton, and Mitch Moreland. 3 new inductees into the Ron Polk Ring of Honor out there in the plaza in right field. Kind of behind the Ron Polk statue. What a cool thing that'll be. Thanks for sending that, Denzel. Glad for all those guys. How y'all feel about baseball? Y'all feeling it? You feeling it? I was texting, what's today? What is today? Thursday? So Tuesday, I was texting Jake Mangum. I'm like, when do you report? He said, I'm driving right now. On the way. That means it won't be long, baby. It won't be long. Nick texts the show. He says, Matt, the sun is out and we have baseball in 2 weeks. There's a silver lining to everything. Hey, Nick, let me tell you what else is a silver lining. The fact that it's going to get up to nearly 70 degrees at some point this weekend. Bring it on. You hear that, Beeve? Tear them sleeves off, man. It's going to warm up.
Nope. Oh, I definitely heard you, Matt Wyatt, and don't worry. I've already seen it, and I've already gotten angry. It's February. I mean, it's not officially February, but it's February. And next week here, we're going to be, I believe the string was something like starting Saturday, 67, then 69, 72, a 76. There was a 78 in there somewhere next week.
You better plug that fan in. I can't wait. I'm going to roll the windows down, man. But pretty soon, after about a month after, it'll be pollen season. That's the other thing, dude. I don't know if
you also know, let's not get too cocky, because you also know that probably the week after, we're gonna be like 38 again.
That's true. We will absolutely get a February cold snap where it'll freeze your pipes, and then who knows, we might even get one in March. So that's why when the sun comes out and it hits 70 degrees on it, it's like a weight is lifted off my shoulders, Beaver. Somebody texted the show here and said, I want to know why, right at the end, Keyshawn Murphy tried to just lay it up when you're wide open. Why not slam it and swing from the rim with that size? I don't know. It's hard to. Somebody like me who can't swing from the rim, I'm not sure how to answer it, but it seems like, okay, if you can dunk it easily, that's a sure thing when you're wide open. But yeah, you got to come through right there. Stuff like that too. And I know this is, for some people, they never want to hear somebody regarding wins and losses wax philosophical about the positive effect that losses can have. I know people don't want to hear that, but it is true. And again, a sport like basketball, they're going to send nearly 70 teams to the postseason, okay? You're going to be one of them. Play your best then. Well, if that's the goal, it is true that some of this stuff that happens to you in your regular season, as long as you don't go in a tank over it, as long as you don't deflate and just kind of give in, it can help you down the road. I know you're like, what? Trust me. Telling you, you handle it right as a team, it actually galvanize you and make you a little better. And let's be honest, okay, too, the defense thing that we've talked about with State, there's a toughness to it there. It's almost like you could see it being a natural progression for a team and a group of players who all of a sudden they look up and they got offensive weapons. Like, we can score with anybody. And it's easy to start to switch your identity in your own head a little bit, take the foot off the gas on that other end of the floor. You could easily talk me into believing that's possible, you know. So if something helps you find that, good, long term. Somebody also texted and said, in the tournament, you're not going to be playing the SEC gauntlet game after game. This league is tough. Buddy, that is true too. It is not making excuses for losing games and missing layups. But it's tough. And this is part of a, like, the whole stretch is tough, but this is part of a really tough stretch for State. I mean, that one last night is the 6th game, you know, out of this run. Number 6 Kentucky, number 1 Auburn, number 21 Ole Miss, number 6 Tennessee, at South Carolina OT, number 4 Alabama. 6 in a row where 5 of the 6 are ranked. 3 of those on the road, 2 ranked on the road. And the 3 home games you've had, Kentucky, Ole Miss, Alabama. It's tough. You win one in overtime, you lose another one by 5 and lose another one by 4. We're not talking about a team that stinks. We're talking about a team that is right there, and there's an edge and maybe an edge / clutch / tough element that they got to find it. This has been a tough stretch. So you talk about tough stretches. It does not get any easier. Look at those are the last 6. 5 out of those 6 I'm talking about. Kentucky, Tennessee, Bama, Auburn, Ole Miss, Alabama. Look what the next 6 are. 20th ranked Missouri. Got to go to Georgia, who's beaten Kentucky this year. Host Florida. Travel to Ole Miss. Host top 15 A&M. Then you go, there's 5. Oh, we get a break. Get a break with Oklahoma. Yeah, well, you got to go there at the end of February. And it's the first of back-to-back road trips. The second one's at Alabama. You don't even get to breathe until you host LSU in Texas in back-to-back weeks the first week in March. Finish up the year, you play Arkansas. Yeah, well, you got to go up there. It's a tough schedule. Everything's tough in the league. It is a tough league. If you can survive it, again, and not go in the tank and survive it, keep getting a little better, get in the tournament. You're not going to have to play a stretch in the tournament like a stretch you've played here this year. So I'm not disheartened by it at all as a State guy myself. I think they're fine. All right. Gino said it's 72 degrees right now in Flowood. Whew. Turn on the AC. Hour 2 coming up. Stick around. Y'all heard me talk about Murray West and MurrayWest.com. They made the hat that I'm wearing. Got the Natchez Trace logo on it. I've told you a little bit about what they are. Contract embroidery company here in Mississippi. Started back in 1996, family owned. They do a phenomenal job, and I got to go visit their place up in New Albany. Let me show you a little bit about it. You know, when I say they do quality stuff, they really do. And so custom apparel, team stuff, I mean, really and truly, just about every high school in the state is sending their embroidered, team gear, jackets, shirts, hats, stuff. Baseball teams, football teams, they're sending it to the folks at Murray West in New Albany. You go to their website, MurrayWest.com, you go to the bottom, you can kind of see some of the Prairie Wildlife, Ole Miss Athletics, Gentile, others that they work with. Can't recommend them enough.
need your logo printed, embroidered, sewn on to anything, custom apparel and other stuff, make sure you go there. Murray West. You can find them online. MurrayWest.com. That's MURRY West.com.
I'm Eddie Holcomb with Washington County Farm Bureau Insurance.
I'm Scott Rainwater with Farm Bureau Insurance here in Washington County.
I'm Blake Policini with Washington County Farm Bureau.
I am Brian Street with Farm Bureau Insurance in Washington County, and we are your home team.
I think you know what time it is. It's time to eat. Country pleasing, jalapeno and cheddar, green onion. And no, it's not a grill, see that? But the fire is just about burnt down enough where it's time to put some of this on there. And the only decision when it comes to country pleasing sausage is which flavor, jalapeno and cheddar or maybe green onion. Both.
Break me off a piece of that.
Look at that. You know what that is? That's real green onion. Like that monkey who set his tail on a railroad track. It won't be long now. Country Pleasing sausage, these flavors and many, many others. Get them online at countrypleasing.com. At a grocery store near you, pretty much anywhere in the Southeast. Walk up in there and say, Country Pleasing, please. They'll know what you're talking about.
I was born and raised in Greenville. I've always called Greenville home. This is where I, was raised, went to high school, graduated high school, worked all my life here, leading up to going to college. So even when I moved from Greenville, I always told people, they asked me where you're from, I always said I'm from Greenville. I have mother, father, brother, niece, aunt, all live here in Greenville. So this is home. This is where I, live, and I've just always called it home. Small town, I feel like I could walk in any place tomorrow and know 2 to 3 people in there. It's small town. Someone's on the side of the road broken down. Hey, you need a boost, flat tire, you need help changing it. That's just kind of, what I love about this area, the blues and the food and everything that comes along with the Mississippi Delta that I love. I tell people all the time, my business cards have my cell phone number on them for a reason. Insurance doesn't happen from 8 to 5. When you need me, it's going to be after 5. It hardly ever happens where you have a wreck, get pulled over, need an insurance card, wind blows, shingles off your roof. All these things happen, and it's typically after 5. And so the ability for someone to call me, get in contact with me, text me, ask me a question, and that's what it's about to me, is helping the people that we serve, is taking care of people, and them knowing that they can count on me whenever they need me. I am Brian Street with Farm Bureau Insurance in Washington County, and we are your home team.
Today, brought to you by the Ad Council and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.
Progressive knows finding your new home was a dream come true. You wanted a colonial with high ceilings, hardwood floors, and a peaceful neighborhood. And you found it. Now, every Saturday at 6 a.m., you get to wake to the sound of your neighbor's leaf blower. Progressive can't save you from your noisy neighbors, but we can save you money when you bundle your home and auto with us. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers not available in all states.
No two people learn the exact same way. So how did Babbel become the award-winning language learning app? We thought of you, all of you. Take Sierra. As a visual learner, she uses Babbel's wordplay videos.
Today I'll share a quick lesson on shopping in French.
Merci beaucoup. Keith is a be in the room with real people kind of learner, so he loves the live online classes with our language experts.
Okay, class. Vos está pronto.
Estamos prontos.
However you learn, Babbel makes it easy. Try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. BABBEL.com.
WRKS Pickens Jackson.
We are good to go.
With more of the Matt Wyatt Show. Coming to you direct and live at the Zone 105.9 and worldwide.
Now, here we go.
At the Zone 105.9.com.
All right. Back with you. I'm Matt in the Bureau. Beaver is here. Thank you all for being here. A little bit of time left with you here today on this Thursday. Staying connected to you because of C Spire, the #1 network in Mississippi. C Spire, customer inspired. Check them out at cspire.com. Get on in here. You can be a part of it. If you're just tuning in, I'll tell you how. If you're on the live stream, YouTube, Facebook, X, formerly Twitter, feel free to type in a comment there on the live stream. When you post it, it pops up right here on the column, and I can pop it up right there on the screen for everybody to see it. Like Gene said, the hardest part of the season behind us, talking about Mississippi State basketball, our free throw shooting has hurt us in 2 of our last 4 games. Talking about the tournament, looking ahead of the tournament, Hale State fans said, yeah, but in the tournament, you can face a lot of teams that can shoot threes, and that is true. That is true. Better play better defense. One thing that soothes a loss the following day, hot coffee from High Point Roasters in New Albany, Mississippi. Go to highpointroasters.com. Fill your mug with some hot High Point coffee. Roasted right here in Mississippi. Big 1-pound bags of it too, so you're not going to run out anytime soon. Check them out. Check in with B real quick here about an actor that we both know of. B!
Matt White.
Today is Gene Hackman's 90th birthday.
Hackman.
Gene Hackman. Gene Hackman. Now I missed yesterday. Yesterday was Tom Selleck's 80th. Is that what you told me?
Yeah. Yep, turned 80 yesterday.
Man. Can I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
When we were young, Beaver, 80s, 90s, that was a long time ago. Okay, 80s, 90s. When you had stars like all over the place, but TV and movie stars like the Tom Sellecks and the Gene Hackmans, who today is comparable to those 2 actors? Who do we have today in 2025 comparable to Gene Hackman and what's his name again, who played Magnum?
Tom Selleck.
Tom Selleck. Who do we have today comparable to those guys in their heyday?
As far as acting quality?
Well, I mean, just like star quality.
Oh, star quality.
You don't?
I don't know.
I don't either. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, you really have to think about it. You know what I mean? Okay, but here I go again. I'm starting not to be able to help it. It's always old guy radio. But anyway, back in my day, I mean, Tom Selleck, Magnum P.I. I mean, Gene Hackman's doing all kinds of stuff. Hoosiers. He was Lex Luthor in the Superman movies, for Pete's sake. Everywhere you looked, there were people like that.
Oh, here you go, Matt White. Here you go. Here's your actor with the star quality of Gene Hackman. In today's age, and when I say that, I don't mean that I agree with it, Dwayne Johnson. Dwayne Johnson, okay. Biggest star in the world, making these awful movies. Okay. Being fake and phony as it gets.
So
but
do you
one of the biggest movie stars in the world.
Okay, but do you think Gene Hackman was fake and phony?
No.
You just think like he's this guy who he's sort of universal and everybody knows his name and everybody recognizes him, and if some talk show host can get him on, they've got a big guest. Like, that's the thing about it. I just don't. Today's folks are just not the kind of stars that you had when Selleck was driving around in that red Corvette in Hawaii. Okay, and Gene Hackman was the coach at Hoover's. I'm sorry, not Hoover's. Hoosiers. I got ahead of myself there. Okay, Gino brought up McConaughey. What do you think about that, B? McConaughey for today?
Yeah, I guess. That's another one that's just compare this dude to back in the day stars. But, yeah, he's still sticking around. He's minister of culture at Texas.
That's weird, isn't it?
It's very strange.
Strange, man. Although, okay, 90% of his performance I'm talking about McConaughey, 90% of his performance in The Free State of Jones, I really liked. I enjoyed it. The 10% I didn't like is when his character, he's playing the character of Newt Knight, which is all this is based on, history, had to give these speeches. B, you know what I'm talking about? Like there's one where they put and it's even debatable, even among historians, whether or not they actually did declare themselves a free state of Jones and actually seceding from the Confederacy in real life back then in 1863, I guess it was, or 4. But in the movie, they had the scene where there is Matthew McConaughey playing Newt Knight. They got the whole crowd of people in there at the Jones County Courthouse, and he's giving this speech about declaring themselves the free state of Jones. The speech scenes, I didn't like those. It didn't come off right to me. Something that but the rest of it I enjoy. Trying to think of another McConaughey movie that I know. I don't really know many. You got a favorite Gene Hackman on his 90th birthday, B? You got a favorite Gene Hackman movie? Oh, man, he was in Behind Enemy Lines. (2001). I remember he was in and he was very versatile. Same year, 2001. He's Admiral Leslie Reichert in Behind Enemy Lines, but then the same year he's in that weird guy in the Royal Tenenbaums. The Replacements, remember that? I guess the coach? Yeah. That was in 2000. Enemy of the State in 98. Let's see. Get Shorty, 95. Quick and the Dead, 94. Wyatt Earp, 94. But that's a different Wyatt Earp. He was in The Firm in 93. Okay, Unforgiven. For me, he was in. Okay, so Hoosiers, Unforgiven, and maybe in Mississippi Burning that came out in '88. Those probably the top 3 Gene Hackman movies for me.
Matt Wyatt.
Yo.
You ever seen Runaway Jury?
No. Oof. Good.
That's a Hackman movie. We got Gene Hackman, Dustin Hoffman, John Cusack. It's in early career. Jeremy Piven is in there.
Okay.
It's a good film.
Okay. Yeah. It's, for him, recent. 2003. I mean, the man's 90 years old. He was in Welcome to Mooseport in 2004, and then he was in Superman 2 in 2006, but it was archive footage. So really 2004 is the last movie he was in. And you look at the list of movies this guy was in, he was born in 1930. Okay, his acting career began in 1961. I'd say by the time you have this list culminate in 2004, it's time to hang it up. Go to the beach. Let's see. He was in Bonnie and Clyde early on in his career. Probably launched him. 1967. Bonnie and Clyde. French Connection. I've never seen it, but I've heard everybody talk about it. That was in 71. Scarecrow in 73, and I'm skipping over a bunch. He was, you know what? Okay, Beaver. He was in Young Frankenstein. Did you know that?
I did not.
Okay. I think if you were to look it up, there's this neat story And who did they have telling? I think it was. I saw some old footage of why can't I think of his name? You know, the main character. He was Willy Wonka.
Gene Wilder.
Yes, Gene Wilder. I think I saw a thing of Gene Wilder telling the story about Gene Hackman sort of privately telling him he really wanted to be in this Young Frankenstein movie. Maybe it was Mel Brooks. But that he came and he did it, he was thinking, he didn't want any hoopla. He didn't even want to be in the credits. He just wanted to be in it. He came, they were all a little dubious, like, I don't know how this is going to go. He's not. He was so good, they did like extended scene and put him in a whole bunch of the movie. And I still don't think they put him in the credits. Anyway, that's pretty cool. Happy 90th birthday, Gene Hackman. Steve on Facebook says his best movie was A Time to Kill. We were talking about comparables. Yeah, today. I think this is probably this is a good one. Comparable type star to a Gene Hackman in the 90s would be today Kevin Costner. I think that's about right. Beav, where does Hoosiers rank on your list of Gene Hackman movies?
Well, if we're going to be completely honest, I've never seen it.
What?
Never felt the desire to watch it. So that's by design.
Well,
is this old guy radio?
Hey, well, welcome in then, Bill.
I'm the oldest guy here.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You
I was
fit
thinking,
right in.
I've been listening to all these. How about Harrison Ford?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but Harrison Ford's not. He's honestly not that much younger than Gene Hackman.
No, he's in that. He's in that new.
He's 82.
1923 thing that what's his face is doing. The guy that Beaver hates so much that did all the Yellowstone stuff.
Did all the Yellowstone stuff?
He hates the guy. He hates the guy that does
Sheridan.
Sheridan, yeah.
What is he like? Is he an actor, director, producer? What is he?
A wannabe. No, he writes and produces all those Yellowstone and 1923 and.
Okay, well, so Harrison Ford's 82. See, he's only 8 years younger than. Man, I'll tell you this: Harrison Ford may be 82, but he may be 8 years younger than Gene Hackman, but he looks 18 years younger than Gene Hackman.
Gene Hackman was in The Chamber too. That was filmed here in Jackson.
Yeah.
And Chris O'Donnell was, I think, one of his first movies.
Okay, but didn't they also film it at the actual gas
they
chamber
went up there and did the gas chamber up at the
Parchman?
Parchman, yeah. I remember when he was here in town, I was working for the infamous Farmer Jim back then.
Okay.
And he and Farmer Jim played golf together, he and Gene Hackman.
Really?
Yeah, while he was here.
Was
he also played golf with what's his face? I can't think of his name now.
I wonder if he was any good at golf.
I think he was pretty good from what Farmer Jim said he was, because Farmer Jim was good at golf too.
Okay.
And he also played with. You talked about A Time to Kill.
Yes.
What's his name that was in Time to Kill?
Well,
the Royale with cheese guy from Pulp Fiction. I can't even think of his name. Snakes on a Plane. You know what I'm talking about.
Samuel L. Jackson.
Samuel L. Jackson.
Samuel L.
Yeah, he played golf with him too while they were filming A Time to Kill.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah, Farmer Jim had a whole bunch of golf dates.
Somebody texted in current stars: Jason Statham, maybe Tom Hardy. I know who Statham is. I'm not sure who. I don't know. I can't picture
Tom Hanks.
Tom Hardy.
Tom Hanks.
Yeah. Somebody texted in Tom Hanks. I mean, that's another one too. So yeah, but here's the thing about it: these people
by the way. That was a Ferrari that he drove in.
All right, somebody texted that in too, and it said Magnum PI drove a red Ferrari, not a red Corvette.
Ferrari.
Yeah, I'm not a car guy.
He made that car famous.
Okay, but here's the thing about it: these that we're mentioning that we're going, comparable to the Gene Hackmans. We've said Harrison Ford, we did Costner. Somebody mentioned McConaughey. Somebody mentions Tom Hanks. The deal is, though, all those guys go back to that same era.
Yeah, the 70s and 80s. Yeah.
We're not talking about
is there anybody now? Well, except maybe Tom Cruise.
There is no. They don't exist. That's what I'm telling you, Bill. And
I wrote down Tom Cruise here, thinking about somebody now.
All right, but Tom Cruise, it's not now. I mean, heck, Top Gun came out in '86.
Yeah, but he's getting ready to do another Mission Impossible movie right now.
Let me tell you something. In real life, he's like 78 years old. It is impossible.
Yeah, it is impossible.
But here's the point. Here we are, 2025. Let's just look at the last 25 years since we tipped over into this new millennia. Okay? We don't have anybody right now comparable to 1980s Tom Selleck, 1990s Harrison Ford and Tom Cruise and Matthew McConaughey. They don't exist now. The biggest stars we have were big stars then, but we hadn't had any new ones.
The guys that have been around forever.
And when we say stars, there would be young people, Bill, who would tell you about the trashiest people to ever become famous that are like internet famous type people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not movie stars. That's done. That's over.
Wannabes.
Right, it's over. That era, that whole deal, it's over.
All right,
Clooney,
since this is old guy radio,
okay, Clooney and Pitt.
Oh, okay.
And on the men's side of it, in the last 20 years, the closest thing, and they're up there, Clooney and Pitt. We got a call from Teddy. Hey, over to the phone line, the Deviney Equipment phone line. Deviney Equipment in Madison and in Jackson. You're a Kubota dealer. On line 1, he's ready. He's ready, Teddy. What's up, Teddy?
Matt, I'm Bill and Beaver. It's with my immense immaturity, I can't get past the fact that a man with the last name Hackman, like Gene Hackman, is good at golf.
Yeah. Oh, the irony.
I cannot get past it. But that really literally made me laugh out loud in my truck and call.
Heck, man, that's good.
I deserve to be Hackman.
Are you one of those that, as my buddy describes, when he plays golf, it looks like he's killing snakes? Is that you?
Yeah, and speaking witchcraft.
Yeah.
All kind of new words. I invent new words. I invent new words to keep it clean.
Yeah, you sound like Yosemite Sam out there when you top one. No, I got you.
It probably looked like it with my feet 3 feet off the ground, mad as all get out. But you know, every 9 holes you hit one shot that makes you think you're going to be good one day.
That's it. And then you come back and spend your money. That's it.
Again. Appreciate y'all. Have a good day, man.
You too. Hackman is good at golf, he said. Thibodeau has shown up here on the Country Pleasing text line, has come out of the woods, and has shown his face on the Country Pleasing text line. Like that guy said about Roy McAvoy. He's quite comfortable in the current situation he's in. He spent most of his life in the woods and in darkness. That was funny in that movie. Thibodeau texts the show. He says, Old Guy Radio, announcing new sponsors, Metamucil, Lens Crafters, Sonic Ear, and Colonial Pen. Yeah. Colonial Pen. Sonic Ear. I told you I was watching the game show deal. This was maybe one time last year. I was eating lunch one day, and so I just popped the TV on, and I flipped it over to game show deal, and I really got into this old game show. Then all the commercials were like that. Medicare, estate planning, living will. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm apparently not old enough to watch. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I am. All right, back over to the phone. Gator Matt on line 2. Matt, thanks for calling. What's up?
Matt, that's called target marketing.
That's what I'm saying, man. It got me.
My kids would argue, are you familiar with Timothy Chalamet?
Okay, wait a minute. He's the new Willy Wonka.
Was he?
Yeah.
I didn't see that. I will say A Complete Unknown is the best movie that's been out in the last 20 years. That's right. I said it. That is the best movie. A Complete Unknown, the
Okay.
Bob Dylan
Oh.
Fantastic.
Yeah, because he played
Went and
Bob
saw
Dylan.
that. Let me tell you, Matt, I didn't look at my phone one time through the whole movie, and that says a lot for me.
Okay.
Matt, I need a favor. I need tickets to the Florida MSU game. Florida will be number 1 in the nation by that time, and we'll come to Starkville to put a whooping on y'all. I'll wait online and so I can get those tickets from you. See you, man.
See you, Matt. But here's the deal, Matt. I don't get tickets, but if it's like football, all you need to do is know a member of the faculty at State, because apparently them rascals will sell an opposing ticket. They'll sell a ticket to an opposing fan in a heartbeat. That's whatever. Or at least according to the people that complain about it. That's all you got to wait on. Yeah, Florida. Look, man, the Gators are capable of winning the whole shooting match. They are. Don't they have like an 8-footer on the team? No joke. He's like 8 feet tall. He stands under the rim, and for stretching, he just stands there and puts his hands on the rim, like stretches his shoulders out, flat-footed. Something like that. I might have exaggerated a little, but I'm not that far off. All right. Rolling along with you here, hour 2 on this Thursday. I'm Matt in the Bureau, the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Stick around.
I'm 𝐷𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐢 with Washington County Farm Bureau Insurance.
I'm Scott Rainwater with Farm Bureau Insurance here in Washington County.
I'm Blake Policini with Washington County Farm Bureau.
I'm Brian Street with Farm Bureau Insurance in Washington County, and we are your home team.
I think you know what time it is. It's time to eat. Country pleasing, jalapeno and cheddar, green onion. And no, it's not a grill, see that? But the fire is just about burnt down enough where it's time to put some of this on there. And the only decision when it comes to country pleasing sausage is which flavor, jalapeno and cheddar or maybe green onion. Both.
Break me off a piece of that.
Look at that. You know what that is? That's real green onion. Like that monkey who set his tail on a railroad track. It won't be long now. Country Pleasing sausage, these flavors, and many, many others. Get them online at countrypleasing.com. At a grocery store near you, pretty much anywhere in the Southeast. Walk up in there and say, Country Pleasing, please. They'll know what you're talking about.
Grew up on a family farm out past Leland, just born and raised here in the Mississippi Delta. Never really thought about moving out. You know, it's where my roots are. Our family's a big sports family. It was 4 boys and 1 girl, and all 4 of us boys went and played ball at Delta Community College. My dad, he's always been honestly a role model of mine. He's farmed his whole life. We attend St. James Catholic Church in Leland, where we went to church my whole life, and then now continuing my family, me and my wife and my 3 kids. Being a Christian is everything for me and my family. Being born and raised here in this area, there's just something about this area. I mean, when you pull into it, you don't see a whole lot, but being born and raised here and the farm families and just the people that grew up here, the people that you see here, you see in the grocery store, you go to church with, small town community, you're gonna run into people that you know. It puts a smile on your face knowing that you know the people in your area, in your community. Get to know them as friends and now bring them in to my office here and creating that relationship, extending it on, getting them as insureds, as customers of mine, who I call friend. I'm Blake Policini with Washington County Farm Bureau, and we are the home team.
Y'all have heard me talk about Murray West and MurrayWest.com. They made the hat that I'm wearing. Got the Natchez Trace logo on it. I've told you a little bit about what they are. Contract embroidery company here in Mississippi
Started back in 1996, family owned. They do a phenomenal job, and I got to go visit their place up in New Albany. Let me show you a little bit about it. When I say they do quality stuff, they really do. And so custom apparel, team stuff, I mean, really and truly, just about every high school in the state is sending their embroidered, team gear, jackets, shirts, hats, stuff. Baseball teams, football teams, they're sending it to the folks at Murray West in New Albany. You go to their website, murraywest.com, you go to the bottom, you can kind of see some of the
losing the game. You're going to hear about them all and get to talk about it with Matt Wyatt right here, right now on the Zone 105.9 and worldwide at thezone1059.com.
Back with you. January 30th. Happy birthday, Gene Hackman. Tyler texted the show and he said, while Hackman is really solid, said Selleck is tremendously bigger than him and so many others, having success and ability to sell out the box office and have the most popular network TV series is unique. And Tom Selleck could then and still now do it. He says, I'd say the closest to Tom Selleck would actually probably be Tim Allen. Yeah, maybe so. Maybe he's getting on up there too. And that's for sure. Tim Allen. I think Annabeth saw recently. Remember the 3 Men and a Baby movie? Tom Selleck, Ted Danson, and the other guy. And then they were raising a baby. And like there was going to be a new version of that with the same people coming out. So this is going to be like they're going to be grandparents or something. Might be good. Hey, what do you think about this? News in Mississippi as it relates, potentially anyway, news in Mississippi as it relates to high school sports. Headline, after a decade of trying, the Tim Tebow Act has a chance of passing in Mississippi. I think it's coming out of the committee there in the House, and so we see what happens next. The subheader said every neighboring state has changed their public school laws or policies in recent years to allow homeschoolers to participate in extracurricular activities. Mississippi could join them this year. They call it the Tim Tebow deal because that's what he did. Tim Tebow did not go to high school. He was homeschooled, but he was able to play football on a high school team. Magnolia Tribune story. Various lawmakers have filed versions of what's become known as the Tim Tebow Act in the Mississippi legislature for up to a decade now. Now it appears the legislation has its best chance yet of passing, as both Senate and House Education chairmen have filed nearly identical bills this session. Tim Tebow Act. He was in Florida. He was allowed to play public high school sports. Of course, he was big time. They won a state championship. Went on to Florida, Heisman Trophy, all that kind of stuff. He was a homeschooler. Every neighboring state has changed their public policy and public school laws in recent years to allow homeschoolers to participate in the extracurricular activities, joining some 33 other states across the nation that have done the same thing. Homeschooling spiked in Mississippi during the COVID pandemic, up a reported 40% to almost 25,000 homeschool students in the state of Mississippi. Story says that shift has occurred as the Mississippi Department of Education has reported a steadily declining public school student population over the past 5 years. So homeschooling's up 25,000. Public school enrollment across the state's down 30,000. So the numbers were, so it's down 6%. In 19 and 20, right before COVID hit, you were at 466,000 public school students. This past year, it was 436,000. So 30,000 students, 25,000, I'm just about. Well, that's not the loss, but, some would be private school too. Magnolia Tribune has these numbers if you want to look at graphs too, to kind of see what the numbers are in the state. Now, how about this? What do you think? See, principal, when he heard this, he texted in on the Country Pleasing text line, and he said, "No, thank you." I've heard other people say it's a no from me. This says homeschool parents pay the same local and state taxes as those who send their children to public school, yet those students have not been allowed to participate in local public school extracurricular activities like sports. Public school lobbyists have always opposed it in Mississippi. And they often point out that being able to participate in public school activities like, football, basketball, that it's a privilege. And they say that homeschool students are not held to the same standards as the kids in public school. So and it points out you got these two chairmen. Senate Education Chairman Dennis DeBar and House Education Chairman Rob Robertson. They both have included language in their bills this time outlining that homeschoolers looking to participate in public school extracurriculars, easy for me to say, must, quote, here it is, adhere to the same academic standards as other participants. And the bills say that those standards have to be confirmed by documentation. Student has to provide that to the public school in order to be able to participate. So that's the language in the bill this go round. What do you think about that? There's a lot more there if y'all want to go read all about it. Like I said, principal texted in. He said, no, thank you. Miko says, Matt, will the homeschooled students be able to attend any school of choice? If so, this is going to be a major problem with recruiting. You know what? When I heard about it this morning, I was talking to somebody, Miko, and that was kind of the first thing I thought of. But it's my understanding there's language in there that says, the homeschool kid's got to live in the district of the school that he's going to play for, according to these bills, the way they're written. So, I'm told no. It would not be a thing where, hey, there's this homeschool kid down in, there's this homeschool kid over in Clinton who's 6'4" and runs a 4.6 and can jump out of the gym. And, we're going to get him to come play for us, at Brookhaven, because he's got an aunt who lives down there or something like that. No, he's got to go. You go play for the public school where you live, which is, public school rules. That's what I'm told, Miko. Yeah. Now, Philip texted in because I was reading that part where it said, homeschool families of homeschool students are paying state and local taxes that go to the schools, and just like everybody else. Philip says, well, people without children pay taxes towards school too. Yeah, right. That's true too. It's an interesting thing. I think that, you have to, in one way, you would look and go, well, I mean, everybody else around, all the other states have done this, some long ago, and then others more recently, but all the states around us have done that. And, you know, that has to influence the urgency or the belief that you want to go do it too in Mississippi. And I'm sure that it does. The other side of that is it could be a little bit of a luxury. Anybody that's gone down that path, they're going to run into some things and realize some things. And if you could, you know, really look closely and pull from their experience, then maybe you could do it right. You know, it is interesting. It's a new thing to me. I've not ever tracked it, followed it, or had a ton of conversations about it. So you know, I guess I'm turning it over in my head for the first time, and I can see it from a couple different angles. You know, I can see it from the angle of, look, you know, we're homeschool, which they do have their own organization, and it's really well done in Mississippi, and it's wonderful people. So, you know, the kids are homeschooled. You know, choices are made for certain reasons. Families are paying taxes. And there are some or many who, yeah, you would love for them to be able to have the same extracurricular experience that the kids at the public school have. But at the same time, I can also see that, yeah, it is a privilege. You know, like if I attend that school and I have those relationships and I represent that school and I go through all the curriculum, I go to all my classes, I make the grades that the school says I have to make in order to be eligible. And therefore, it's a privilege to be able to be on the team and represent the school. And I can see it from that angle also. Because, you know, in reality, we make some decisions and we make certain stances on things in real life that we understand may cost us somewhere else. We weigh that out and make our decision accordingly. We can see it both ways. It feels like I need to know more about it. I'm going to actually get a hold of the actual bill and just read the whole thing and see what jumps out. More time with y'all. We'll get your texts and your messages when we come back. Stick around.
I'm Eddie Holcomb with Washington County Farm Bureau Insurance.
I'm Scott Rainwater with Farm Bureau Insurance here in Washington County.
I'm Blake Policini with Washington County Farm Bureau.
I'm Brian Street with Farm Bureau Insurance in Washington County, and we are your home team.
Y'all have heard me talk about Murray West and MurrayWest.com. They made the hat that I'm wearing. Got the Natchez Trace logo on it. I've told you a little bit about what they are. Contract embroidery company here in Mississippi. Started back in 1996, family owned. They do a phenomenal job, and I got to go visit their place up in New Albany. Let me show you a little bit about it. I say they do quality stuff. They really do. And so custom apparel, team stuff, I mean, really and truly, just about every high school in the state is sending their embroidered, you know, team gear, jackets, shirts, hats, stuff. Baseball teams, football teams, they're sending it to the folks at Murray West in New Albany. You go to their website, MurrayWest.com, you go to the bottom, you can kind of see some of the Prairie Wildlife, Ole Miss Athletics, Gentile, others that they work with. Can't recommend them enough. If you need your logo printed, embroidered, sewn on to anything, custom apparel and other stuff, make sure you go there. Murray West, you can find them online. MurrayWest.com. That's MURRY West.com.
I had this opportunity come up through a friend of mine that was agent here at Farm Bureau that he said this may be something I like to do because he knew I was involved in the community. And what we do, we're supporting the community. We're doing stuff to protect the members of our community. I've been here almost a decade. And what we do, we help people every day through the products we sell. We make recommendations to them, stuff to protect their assets, protect their lives, their families, and we're local. We're local people. Everybody that works in this office has grown up here, lived here, played ball in this community. I've coached in this community, been on the park boards, the sports league boards, the booster club boards. The community is what's important here in Farm Bureau. We push the local community. We're a Mississippi company. That's a Washington School team ball from 2019. Greg Wallace was the head coach then, and him and I were really good friends. I've been in Greenville my whole entire life. My family's been here. This is home. I'm not going anywhere. I'm here to support the people of Washington County, protect them. I'm Scott Rainwater with Farm Bureau Insurance here in Washington County. We are the home team.
I think you know what time it is. It's time to eat. Country pleasing, jalapeno and cheddar, green onion. And no, it's not a grill, see that? But the fire is just about burnt down enough where it's time to put some of this on there. And the only decision when it comes to country pleasing sausage is which flavor, jalapeno and cheddar or maybe green onion. Both.
Break me off a piece of that.
Look at that. Know what that is? That's real green onion. Like that monkey who set his tail on a railroad track.
Matt Wyatt is in the house on the Zone 105.9 and worldwide at thezone1059.com.
Hey, that's a good point. Good point, Prince. I was using this hypothetical example and to answer Miko's question about the way these bills are written. You're not supposed to be able to go like out of district. If it's a homeschool kid, it's going to be allowed to play in public school sports, for example. It's other extracurricular stuff too, but sports included. That it'd be where he lives. You got to play there. It couldn't go, and so I referenced this hypothetical 6'4" homeschool kid who can jump out of the gym, run a 4.6. Prince said, "Don't tell the MAIS about that 6'4" homeschool kid who can jump out of the gym, run a 4.2." It's so true. I'm talking. Hey. Talent, man. Prince. Talent travels. Word travels, man. Blind Squirrel Sports on YouTube says, looking ahead just a bit, what expectations do y'all have for state baseball this season? State baseball. Expectations. High expectations, Blind Squirrel Sports. Every year. It does not matter. Sometimes reality doesn't even matter. Just know the expectations for state baseball are way up there. White Denzel says, on the Country Pleasing text line, it says, I've always said that kids in Mississippi who are homeschooled for one reason or another should be able to play sports in public schools. If the state of Florida hadn't adopted that rule, we probably wouldn't have known who Tim Tebow was. Yeah. Maybe. Thibodeau said Madison Central is about to locate some giant freak athlete being homeschooled in Possumville and buy his parents a house in Reunion. That's what I said, Thibodeau. That's NIL, baby. Hey, speaking of NIL, there was a couple of those things on that front today that I thought were funny. One was, Beaver, you'll appreciate this. And for whatever reason, it was a good joke. And then X, fouled up on me. It didn't send it. But there was this thing that went out about Arch Manning at Texas signing up with Red Bull. He's got an NIL deal with Red Bull. Now, Beaver, when I saw Red Bull, what do you think I thought of? Yep, I thought of Creed when he dyed his hair black, trying to be young. He said, sometimes you got to ride the bull. Am I right? Yeah, sometimes you got to ride the bull. Later, skater. Sure did. And then the other one was this. Let's see. A bill has been filed in the Texas legislature that will allow Texas high school athletes that are at least 18 years old and academically eligible to receive NIL money. Current law prohibits anyone from entering into NIL deals with Texas athletes unless they are enrolled in college. So they're going to trickle that down to high school. But again, I mean, you're talking about NIL, like, what is it? Hey, look at there. Real C's eating some king cake. And he's cut it in the shape of a pie slice. Real C, did that come off of an actual king cake and you cut it in a triangle like a slice of pie? Or is it pie made into look like and taste like king cake? Which is it? You notice I had a hard time getting that out. I couldn't get it. My brain locked up for a minute. Don't get me started on it. It's good. I ate a little slice of king cake the other day at my in-laws' house. It was really good. All sugary and goodness and everything. I still don't get it though. I mean, nobody can look you in the eye if they're just being honest and open and tell you that it's not weird that there is a supposed baby inside the cake. I mean, tell me that's not weird. It's weird. It's weird. I don't want to find it. Ever. I mean, who's putting it in there? Think about that for a minute. B, have you ever found the baby inside a king cake? I haven't. What is it? Like, supposedly, if you had the baby, you got to buy the next one, king cake. That's great. The king cake's good. But the idea of putting a baby in it, come on now. I'm not saying it's bad at all. I'm just saying it's weird. You got to admit it's weird. Yeah, I know. That's what I was saying, Denzel. He was talking about state baseball expectations. He said this year's Mississippi State baseball expectations, that's easy. Omaha, all caps. That's kind of, yep. Okay. Blind Squirrel brought this up. He said that's weirder than frog legs on a Shoney's buffet. But that's a true story, though, right? Didn't they do that? Didn't they used to have all you could eat frog legs on the Shoney buffet? Shoney's buffet. Didn't they do that? I think that's a true story. I didn't eat them, but I think they had them. Shoney's like Blockbuster. Like, it's gone, right? Sports history. Y'all want some of that? As we wrap things up today, here we go. On this day, January 30th, 1994, Natalie Cole, daughter of Nat King Cole, sang the U.S. national anthem at Super Bowl. What Super Bowl is it? 28. Dallas Cowboys won 30-13 over the Buffalo Bills on this day in 1994. Here you go. On this day in 2000, the New York Mets announced that Garth Brooks would begin training with the team later in February. I'd forgotten all about that. Stupid. I think he went through it or whatever. All right. And then in 2000, okay, so the same day that they announced Garth Brooks was going to go spring training with the Mets, Braves relief pitcher John Rocker was suspended from Major League Baseball for disparaging foreigners and other groups in an interview published by Sports Illustrated. So that happened also. What about the Shoney's frog legs? Denzel says those frog legs at Shoney's were elite. Were they really frog legs, though? Are you certain that they came off a frog? I guess. Where were they coming from? Where'd Shoney's get all them frogs? Frog farm? Where do the frog farms exist? All right, let's see here. Somebody commented and said the baby in the king cake is for King Jesus in the Christian season of Epiphany. Find the king like the Magi found the infant king. Oh, okay. So it's symbolic. Well, and that's fine. I still say, it's great, but, and the story of the birth of Jesus and the Magi and they're finding the king and everything because he is the king. But putting it in a cake, that's what I'm saying. Putting a little plastic thing in a cake. I'm just saying it's weird is all. I said it's not bad. I'm not saying it's bad. Sometimes it's okay to be weird. But I think we ought to live in a world where sometimes if something's weird, we can just all admit it. Blind Squirrel has a theory on the frog legs at Shoney's. He says that was probably chicken nuggets deep fried in frog leg shaped cookie cutter. It might have been. Here is the point of the show where it's off the rails. And if I were Chris Brooks, I'd be, leaning over to Beaver going, how we doing on time, Beef? Did Chris ever ask you to hit the music early? Hey, like, Beef, just go ahead and hit it. Let's get out of here. Ever do that?
Oh, yeah. I could tell. These people, I do it with Jake all the time. I can tell when he's struggling. I'll go ahead and hit it a minute, sometimes up to 2 minutes early. Pride. Well, he doesn't. I don't even think he knows I do it either because of his dumb pride. But I can tell when the man is struggling. And yes, Chris struggled almost every day.
You could tell when he was run out of gas. The lawnmower has run out of gas. Just go ahead and push it on into the carport. All right, we'll do that. We'll push it into the storage building. For Beaver, I'm Matt. All of us here on the show in the Bureau, the Mississippi Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. See you down the road. See you.